Hello and welcome to this DTC Sports special presentation. I'm Tom Duggin for DTC Sports. Today we're at DeKalb County High School in Smithville, and we're set to talk some basketball with a brand new boys head basketball coach, John Sanders. Coach, first of all, congratulations on the new job, and for that matter, welcome back to District 8AA.
Well, thank you, Tom. I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be coaching here in DeKalb County.
Now, certainly a lot of folks that follow 8AA, they're going to recognize you, former coach at Smith County High School. But tell us a little bit about your background, where you came from, and how you came to be a head basketball coach.
Okay, so I played basketball 4 years at Smith County High School for my dad. I graduated there in 2005, and then went to Tennessee Tech, graduated in 2009. I was a manager there for a year for Coach Mike Sutton and Steve Payne, and then began coaching in Trousdale County at Jim Satterfield Middle School, and spent 2 years there, then 2 years at Smith County Middle School before getting the head coaching job there at Smith County High School, where I spent 3 years there, and then this last year I've been at Oakland High School as an assistant.
Okay. Tell me what it was about DeKalb County that brought you here. What appealed to you about this job?
Well, just knowing what I knew about them, you know, having played against them as a player and coached against them, and knowing, you know, Coach Martin coached here for 16 years and did a great job, left the program in great shape. I knew it would be a good situation to take over, and so it was a good opportunity. And I'm very blessed to have had it.
Having been at Smith County High School before, talk about what you see in terms of similarities to Smith County and DeKalb County, and maybe any differences that may stand out to you.
So far, just, you know, in my short time here, you know, the similarities are, you know, the kids are very similar. The style of kids, you know, the size of the school, things of that nature. Kids have been very respectful so far, work hard. So, you know, those things are similar in that regard.
I want to talk a little bit about your last year, of course, stepping away from being a head coach on the high school level, heading over to Oakland, a bigger school, but taking a step back as an assistant coach. What maybe did you learn in the last year that maybe has helped you this time around as you come back to being a head coach on the high school level?
Definitely, I got to see somebody else who's, you know, Coach Bond at Oakland. He's had a lot of success in his career at Wilson Central and Oakland. I got to see how he does things, you know, defensively. You know, it was really good to see how organizational wise, you know, somebody else does things, because, you know, I've learned from my dad, I've learned from Coach Sutton at Tech and a few others, but you know, I wanted to. It was a good opportunity, and it's been very beneficial for me.
You mentioned your dad, having played for your dad and having grown up a coach's son. Talk about that experience and maybe how that gave you an edge both as a player and in your coaching career as well.
Well, it definitely, you know, it's something special. You know, I'll always cherish, you know, and remember, you know, it wasn't easy at times, especially, you know, if we got into it a little bit at practice, and then you have to go home and you know, there's no telling, you know, Mom, well, the coach said this, coach said that. So even though she did take up for me anytime there was, you know,
right,
a brouhaha there, but yeah, it was really, I mean, I loved it, you know, playing for my dad and stuff. It was, you know, something I'll never forget.
Now, you may be one of the few folks around this area that not only played for your dad, but you also coached against him. And for folks that know Coach Trey Sanders, he's been at Gordonsville a long time. You were over at Smith County, so not only you guys coached against one another, but in such a rivalry in Smith County and Gordonsville. Talk about that experience.
That was, you know, that was really fun. You know, the times we were able to play against each other, and probably the thing I guess I remember the most was my very first high school head coaching win came against my dad, and so that's probably something, you know, I feel like I'll probably never forget as long as I live. And he, you know. We played a lot against each other in the junior high level, and you know, he was always real proud of me and told me he loved me after every game. You know, so that was special. You know, anytime you can play against your father and compete real well, you know, it's always fun.
Let's talk about philosophy and what folks at DeKalb County High School are going to see from the Tigers when you hit the hardwood next year.
Well, you know, in the past, typically I've been more of a man-to-man guy, and I still like man, but being at Oakland this last year, you know, I've learned kind of about how Coach Bond and how they would play he runs a lot of different zones and stuff, some matchup zone stuff. So I'm still learning the guys, and you know, once we get in the spring, we'll kind of see what we can do defensively. Typically, I like to trap and force an up-tempo style of play, and offensively, you like to be patient, work, and get a good shot. So that's kind of what my goal, my philosophy is going into it. But obviously, once we get the full team in here and we're able to start practicing, we'll see what we can do.
You're familiar with District 8 AA, having coached in it already for several years and played in it as well. Let's sort of talk about kind of a two-part question, I guess. How much does the familiarity help you coming here to DeKalb County? But likewise, how tough is it as well, knowing how good District 8 AA typically is top to bottom?
Well, you know, having played and coached against a lot of these teams, you know, your regulars, you know, Livingston and Upperman are always going to be good and tough to beat. York, you know, always very competitive. Macon County, you know, those teams are just always, seems like they're always at the top towards the end of the season. So, I mean, knowing that going in, you know kind of what to expect. And I think that's an advantage in some ways.
This is something you probably know, but just to get your take on it, DeKalb County High School, since 1963, has only had 4 head coaches, and the last 3 of those head coaches have accounted for the last 54 years of basketball here. Kind of what do you think that speaks in terms of this program to have Harold Luna, Danny Bond, Linus Martin, who all were just greatly successful with this program?
I think that's how a program maintains success, when you don't have turnover like that. I think that shows that you're in a place that's got good support. You know, obviously if coaches aren't turning over, you know, they like working here. And so I think that's a good sign for me, you know, because I want to be in one place, you know, and continue the program, the history of the program. You know, those guys that you named did a great job laying the foundation and building this program, and I want to continue that, what they started.
Has Coach Martin been pretty good, I assume, in the transition from passing the torch?
He's been great. He's a good friend of mine, and I love Linus, love talking to him, and yeah, he's been great. He showed me around a bunch of stuff up here the other day, kind of where everything was, and he's told me, he said, man, anytime you need anything, you just let me know. So he's a great guy.
Well, Coach, I know the folks at DeKalb County are very excited to have you, and from the media perspective, I'm glad to have you back in District 8 AA. I know personally you're going to do a great job. Welcome to DeKalb County, and look forward to seeing the product on the court later on this fall.
Well, thank you, Tom, and I'm looking forward to being a Tiger.
All right, this is Coach John Sanders, new head basketball coach of the DeKalb County High School Tigers, talking with us today here on this DTC Sports special presentation. For DTC Sports, I'm Tom Duggin.